Grr, what's good with it, you guys? It's your boy D Scott, Hardcore Casual MMA, tuning in for another one. We're gonna recap UFC Vancouver, Reinier De Ridder versus Brendan Allen. What a great fight night card! One of the best fight night cards I've seen in a while. Lived up to the expectations. Plenty of finishes. Hell, we might have a new mythical fighter in the UFC at bantamweight. Reinier De Ridder totally sold. Um, a lot to go over, but first we're gonna go over the prelims real quick, and then we'll get into the main event and all the action. Let's get it. To kick this card off on the early prelims, we had a good female fight with Melissa Croden versus Tanara Lisboa, which ended in a TKO in the third round. Good female scraps. Most of the female fights were very entertaining on this card, which is something that doesn't happen often, but that's why I say this card, in my opinion, was a 10 out of 10. But on the prelims, we had Azamat Bokaev versus Yusuf Bulgari. Bulgari is Alex Pereira's training partner and foes at Glory Kickboxing before they both entered the UFC. Uh, they fought 3 times for the middleweight championship in Glory. Alex got beat by decision by Bulgari in the first one, but finished Bulgari by TKO in the second 2 middleweight fights. But anyways, this was a good brawl. Bulgari ended up getting the finish, overwhelming them with a plethora of punches in the third round. Got the finish, win for Bulgari. On up, we had Stephanie Luciano versus Rabina Oliviera. Ended in a submission in the third round. On the prelims, we had Danny Barlow versus Jourdain. Jourdain Santos. Good brawl. Um, Back and forth, lumped each other up pretty good. Very entertaining fight to watch. Danny Barlow was a little bit disappointing. He was people were high up on him when he first came into the UFC, but he's just now lost 2 in a row, losing the decision to Santos in this fight. I think Barlow needs to work with a boxing coach and clean up his striking and his combinations. I think he carries a lot of power, but if he could just clean up his technique and get better technique, I think he would really hurt a lot more of his opponents and find the finish and be a little more patient. His when he throws punches, sometimes he's hitting people with like the side of his hand, and it's very weird and awkward. Like he throws hammer fists when he punches. And he needs to clean that up, get some good straight punches, turning it over, good hooks and overhands. And I think that'll improve his fighting tremendously. But anyways, Barlow lost that one. We'll see what happens with him next. Um, on up the card, we had Cody Gibson versus Quileng Aori. Um, Fight didn't last that long. Came out in the first round. Cody Gibson threw a naked leg kick. No setup to it at all. Quileng timed it perfectly. Came with the right overhand and just dropped Cody Gibson. It was a mean shot, and that was the end of that one. Then for the main event, we had main event on the prelims, not the main event, excuse me. For the main fight on the prelims, we had Kyle Prepolec versus Drew Dober, the very entertaining fighter, fan favorite. Drew Dober is. He always is in brawls and always goes out there and gives it his all. But he eventually got the finish in the third round. It was a great fight. Dober got a point for believe below the low blow um in the fight, and he knew he had to get the finish to win, and that's what he did. He went out there, got the finish, with a flurry of punches, caught him up against the cage and finished the fight. The ref had to get him off of him. But that's it for the prelims. Bottom of the main card, we had a another entertaining, great brawl. Kyle Nelson versus the vet Matt Frevola, back and forth, great scrap. First round, Matt Nelson actually dropped Matt Frevola, got on top, ground and pound. 3 seconds left. The ref stepped in by mistake. We thought the fight was finished, which it could have been a finish because Matt Frevola was basically out of it. The only thing that really could have saved him was the clock. He wasn't super unconscious, but a few of those blows did look like he went unconscious and came back in. But the ref made a mistake and stepped in thinking it was the end of the round with 3 seconds left and kind of cost Kyle Nelson his finish. But after that, it was back and forth. Nelson kind of slowly started, accumulating damage on Matt Frevola, finding his timing. With both of them were throwing crazy body kicks and head kicks off balance. They were tired, but they were still out there giving it all. Matt Frevola was swinging for the fences. He connected quite a few times, but Kyle Nelson was just more productive, landed more shots, and eventually he ended up winning by decision in that third round, won by decision, and tough loss for Matt Frevola. He's had some tough losses here in the recent future, especially the head kick by BSD, but he's still tough. He still got some fights in him, so we look forward to seeing what happens next with Matt Frevola and Kyle Nelson, the Canadian. But the next fight on our card, I think we may have unlocked a new mythical fighter at bantamweight. Charles Jourdain versus Davy Grant. Jourdain looks like a totally different fighter at bantamweight. Up at featherweight, he wasn't cutting any weight, which in the UFC, I feel like you have to. There's so many fighters that are, weight bullies and cutting so much weight and are massive in their divisions. And to a lot of times at the top of the divisions, the high ranked guys, they are cutting a good bit of weight. It's very few of them that don't cut a lot of weight, and they get away more with it in the heavier weight classes, but the smaller weight classes, they definitely cutting a lot of weight, and that's what at featherweight Jourdain wasn't cutting any weight. He looked great. He looked good at featherweight. He still was a good fighter, but I think he might get up in the rankings, and I'm interested to see what Charles Jourdain is gonna do at bantamweight. I mean, his move to bantamweight, he unlocked the aura forming gold mine. So, anyways, him, it was just crazy to see the difference in night and day and how he looked at bantamweight. But him and Davy Grant came out in the first round. Um, they were kind of feeling each other out, going back and forth. Grant was landing some good counters and overhands on him. Charles Jourdain was finding his shots as well. But I say towards the end of that round, well, I think Davy Grant probably was winning the fight before the finish, but Charles Jourdain kept going for this flying knee, and he missed it a couple times, but he got the timing down, caught Davy Grant ducking in, and caught him flush with the flying knee, dropped him. He went to the mat. Jourdain got on top, locked up a guillotine, finished the fight, and that was that. But Davy Grant still looked good, for that mistake that he all but for that mistake that he made. So we'll look forward to seeing the both of them, especially Jourdain at bantamweight. On up, we have Manon Fiorot versus Jasmine Jasudavicius, who's been on a 4-fight winning streak and looking good and was on her way to trying to get a title before Fiorot intervened and said it's not happening. In the first round, Fiorot caught Jasudavicius coming in with a left, just a straight jab and a drop just the vicious. She went to the ground and like kind of shoot in, but Fiorot defended it and got her on the ground and was hammer fist and ground and pound. Uh just the vicious was out of it. She was still conscious, but she wasn't out of there. She contested the stoppage, but it was a good stoppage. Manon Fiorot with another dub. After coming off the loss to Valentina Shevchenko in the championship fight, still looking good. So be interesting to see if she gets if they go ahead and give her another shot at the title, via the winner of Shevchenko and oh, I can't. Why is her name escaping me right now? Um, Whaley. Yeah, between Valentina Shevchenko and Whaley, which is gonna be a great women's fight. Next up on the main card, we have Marlon Chito Vera, another fan favorite, versus Aimenn Zahabi, who was coaching and has made a good run in the UFC, beating former legend, former UFC fighter Jose Aldo in his last outing. And this fight was a war, big brawl. And they were back and forth, but for the most part, Zahabi was putting the pressure on Chito and backing him up, landing his combinations, hitting him with strikes, and overwhelming Chito. The fight was close. Chito did hurt Zahabi in the second round, but wasn't able to find the finish which he should have. Having having Zahabi at a wits and at a sorts, he did not cut the cage off well. He was chasing Zahabi when he was hurt instead of cutting the cage off, and it's just frustrating to see that from a fighter of Chito's caliber and how long he's been in the UFC. And it was also frustrating that Chito didn't throw a lot more and put a lot more pressure to give himself a better chance to win. He was uh, visibly upset with the decision, even though it was kind of close. I think we all kind of felt like Zahabi probably won that fight, but Chito has nobody to be upset with but himself for not going all out, especially when he has the iron chin that he does. Like, the fuck? Come on, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's get it. Like, we in a fight. Try to finish it, especially if it's a close fight. And even in the second round, after Zahabi got hurt, he made a valiant effort to close the end of the round strong and get himself back in the fight, and made that round even closer than it should have been. But Zahabi's looking good. I think he called out Sean O'Malley, which I don't think that the UFC will do that. It really doesn't make sense. They could, but I think they look forward to matching up Sean O'Malley with maybe Corey Sandhagen or some other star in the UFC to get the most juice for the squeeze, so to speak, for that matchup, being a star that Sean O'Malley is. But look forward to seeing Zahabi back in it shortly, and also look forward to seeing Chito Vera. But he's gotta step on the gas and he's gotta throw more and stop sitting back waiting, letting fighter pressure him like that when he's got a chin. Main event of the evening, we had the Trailblazer Kevin Holland versus the Canadian Mike Malott. still ended up being a great fight. Did get kind of disappointing because of the foul in the first round. They came out, Kevin Holland and Mike Malott were filling each other out, and Mike Malott was basically doing the same thing he did for the entirety of the fight. Kevin Holland was, throwing his teeps and his long range attacks, um, that 1-2, trying to get that right hand off, but Mike Malott was evasive, avoiding the shots and coming back with his counters. A great right hand over Holland's strikes, and he basically, countered and had Kevin Holland picked him apart at his will. But at the end of the first round, Malott did give Kevin Holland a knee to the groin, and it was a devastating knee to the groin. Kevin Holland went to the ground and used all of his 5 minutes of his time to try to recollect himself. And people thought that, Kevin Holland may not continue this fight. So Holland took all his time. They came back, finished the second round, and he was still reaching down, grabbing his groin, shaking, and you could tell he was visibly uncomfortable. Yep, although Holland was visibly hurt, he still toughed it through and still made it a decent fight. Would have been a lot more entertaining. Very disappointing that this happened in the co-main event. Me personally, I feel like without the injury, I think Malott would have still won the fight. He just had the more technical game plan and approach, and had a counter and an answer to everything that Kevin Holland was doing. So great win for Mike Malott. He's ranked now, and we'll see who he gets next, and we'll see what's up for him in the future. Mike Malott's looking pretty good, looking like he's gonna be a contender. All right. Next up, we had the main event of the evening, the sale of the century, Reinier De Ridder versus Brendan Allen. Good fight, but very, 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 very disappointing. Um, Brendan Allen looked incredible. He looked like a beast. Even I said in my breakdown of this fight that the closer it got to the fight, I was starting to side more and more with Brendan Allen. And as we see, this is why. Reinier De Ridder came out aggressive, um, getting to the clinch, getting Brendan Allen up against the cage with those knees and clinch. Tied him up, got the takedown and dominated Brendan Allen on the ground for the majority of the first round. Came back out in the second round, same attack, same approach. He was not trying to stand a strike with Brendan Allen whatsoever. And but this time Brendan Allen reversed the takedown, got top position, and controlled and beat the brakes off of De Ridder on the top with nasty elbows, ground and pound, plenty of strikes. I think De Ridder did have a submission attempt at the end of that, and that was it. That was it. But it came out in the third round, and it was the same thing. De Ridder going for the takedown, getting reversed, and getting dominated. And after that third round, even after the second round, I believe De Ridder, after the round, he ended up on bottom. At the end of the round, he laid there for seconds. And like Cormier said, just a horrible, visual to give, not to get right up and get to your stool. and to be laying there after the end of the round, even though he was pretty beat up. Brendan Allen has some mean ground game, mean ground and pound, and he was lumped up pretty good. Took him a good bit to get there. And then coming out in the fourth round, Brendan Allen said he's not gonna play with it, made a smart decision, and just went for the takedown himself and got the control and stayed on De Ridder the entirety of that fight. So yeah, De Ridder, Brendan Allen came out at the beginning of the first round with brilliant coaching, went straight for the takedown since he seen the success that he was having on top and grappling with De Ridder. Dominated him the entire round. Same thing. It was disappointing to see that De Ridder did not try to get back to his feet at all, and he just sat on his back trying to go for submission, but had no luck. Brendan Allen is super experienced and well versed in the jiu-jitsu and grappling. So De Ridder's best bet was to get back to his feet, but he just laid on his back and continued uh, to get dominated trying to play jiu-jitsu as as I would say. But yeah, so at the end of that fourth round, De Ridder, same body language, still laying on the canvas after the round, goes back to his corner and quits. Like, does not want to finish the fight, the last round. And to be a contender and consider for a title shot, and given the opportunity after the steam and motion he's gained from first coming into the UFC, to see him go out like that was disappointing, very disappointing. But guys, that was the fight. Brendan Allen called for who did he call out? Called out for Shamaev, of course, the title fight. Um, Also called out Dricus Du Plessis, which that's the fight that stuck with me that I actually would love to see is Brendan Allen versus Dricus. That'd be a great fight. We'll see what they put together. I'm forgetting the third matchup that he said. The third person he called out. But anyways, yeah, Dricus and Brendan Allen would be great. I do not think he's gonna get the title shot just because Imavov is, just as entertaining and has a good following. He got beat by Imavov, and Imavov, more than likely, he deserves it, and Imavov will probably get the title shot. But that's that for UFC Vancouver. 10 out of 10, fantastic fight night. Everybody follow, like, subscribe. I have another one out shortly. Support. D Sky Hardcore Casual MMA. I'm out.